Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 1, Nether Realm of the Dead. Chapter 23, The Divine Fusong Tree. 23rd of Volume 1. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. The bow of the ship was already crowded with people, and the atmosphere was lively. Everyone was excited and high. That is definitely the Fusong Tree in myths and legends, the divine tree where the Golden Crow lives. Xuanhuan said with great certainty. He was serious, without the usual laughter, and had not yet emerged from the grief of his father's murder. But his vast knowledge in the field of mythology did not allow him to remain silent, and he had to stand up and explain the incomprehensible phenomenon to the public. Li Wei stood at the back of the crowd and looked into the distance. In the depths of the sea, there were two huge mulberry trees growing together, their trunks gnarled and their branches and leaves stretching luxuriantly towards the sky. The bronze ship was hundreds or even thousands of miles away from it. Because the trunks of the two mulberry trees were so faint, it was like looking at the moon in the morning from hundreds of thousands of miles away. Only when the distance is far enough will this happen. Li Wei had once looked at the snow-capped mountains from hundreds of miles away, and knew the feeling of being faint and blurred due to the distance. The distance between the two mulberry trees in front of them was definitely far more than several hundred miles. The height of the trees was several times the height of the snow-capped mountains when viewed from afar, as if they were connected to the sky. The trunk is probably thicker than the mountain body of the snow mountain, and the height. I don't know how many tens of thousands of meters. If it weren't for the fact that every leaf on the two mulberry trees was so bright, like thousands of leaf-shaped moons, Li Wei would have even suspected that what he was seeing was a mirage. As the bronze ship sailed rapidly through the waves, the distance was shortened a lot. The tree trunks on the horizon became clear, and even the gully-like wood grain could be seen. A thick fog appeared on the sea. In the mist, there were many golden flowers of different sizes. They have no leaves, but only fine white roots immersed in the water. These golden flowers give off a unique fragrance that was refreshing. The large ones were more than 10 meters in diameter, while the small ones were only the size of a fist. All of them emitted brilliant light, like thousands of divine lamps floating in the sea, making the sea as bright as a starry sky. Xuanhuan temporarily forgot his grief and his face flushed with excitement. It's the Zaihe flower. The Zaihe flower and the Fusong tree are forever companions, both growing in the Tanggu Sea. Zaihe is a flower that blooms after swallowing the flames of the golden crow. If ordinary people eat it, they will be burned. If small demons eat it, they will turn into giant demons. Finally, I know where we are now. It's the Tanggu Sea. Tanggu Sea is the place where the human world, the underworld, and the divine world meet. It is said that the sea area is 1.5 million miles wide. Some people didn't believe it. You're just bragging. 1.5 million miles. Is the distance between the Earth and the Moon 1.5 million miles? The distance between the Earth and the Moon is about 380,000 kilometers. It's kilometers, not miles. Kai Yutong changed her clothes, put on sunglasses and a mask, and appeared beside Li Wei, interjecting. Xuanhuan felt that no one could question his authority in the field of myths and legends, and he said seriously, isn't it incredible that it is 1.5 million miles? Do you know how big the world where the Red County Divine Continent is located is? The Spring and Autumn Annals of Lu records that the distance between the East and West Poles is 500,097,000 miles, and the distance between the North and South Poles is also 500,097,000 miles. You are short-sighted and still stuck in the thinking of ordinary people. I won't argue with you. Are we still on Earth? We are now in the Netherworld, in the Ghost Wasteland. Gulu. In the direction of the Fusong tree, the seawater turned golden red, as if there were endless divine flames burning on the seabed. The seawater in the outer sea area boiled up, and bubbles the size of water tanks emerged. Soon, the water mist became thicker, covering the entire bronze warship, and it was a vast expanse of white. Splash. In the depths of the thick fog, a giant three-legged bird flapped its wings and flew out from the seabed of the sea area where the two sacred mulberry trees were located. The light bursting from its body illuminated the white fog in the eyes of the scientific expedition team members in a colorful manner. It's the golden crow. Do you see it? That's the golden crow. It turns out that the golden crow doesn't live in the tree of the Fusong divine tree, but builds its nest in the seabed under the Fusong divine tree. Xuanhuan was very excited and proved that he was right again. The records in the mythological classics, although there are errors, are by no means aimless. The golden crow corpse in the tomb forest felt like a young bird. Compared with the one that took off, it was too small. Li Wei said. The golden crow flying out of the seabed had wings like clouds hanging from the sky, and they were probably tens of thousands of meters wide. A single flap of its wings can raise a water wave 100 feet high. The heat and light that burst out of it, even after being blocked by the defensive power of the bronze ship, still stung the eyes and made the skin burn. A researcher was very curious and threw out a steel bar as thick as a thumb. The steel bars flew out of the outer defense barrier of the bronze warship, and before they could fell into the sea, they were roasted red by the terrifying heat, and there were signs of melting. Everyone was stunned. Is it so terrible outside at this moment? The temperature in the air must have reached several thousand degrees, no wonder it could burn the sky and boil the sea. Is this the power that the legendary golden crow, the bird of destruction, can unleash? After flying into the air, the adult golden crow looked back at the bronze ship sailing on the sea, and could see the corpses of the young birds on the ship. But it didn't dare to approach at all, and there was an aura on the ship that made its soul tremble. It had never sensed this aura on any living creature in this world. It's so scary. It flapped its wings and flew to the high sky above the pure darkness, flying to the west. Soon after, it turned into a blazing sun in the sky. The deck area, that sea of graves and forest of tombstones. Not far from the remains of the golden crow chick, under a tombstone, a skeleton dressed in a red palace dress also looked up at the golden crow that was going away in the sky. Her long hair was as black as silk, and it fell to her feet. She was just standing there casually, but she was full of temperament and momentum. Even if she was just a skeleton, one could imagine her peerless beauty when she was alive. In her deep-set eye sockets were two balls of spiritual flame the size of fingertips. She looked at her white bone arm, on which a wisp of blood flowed. The breath of life was constantly born inside the bone. She whispered, that boy must be the descendant of the ancient clan in the legend. Only the blood of the ancient clan's children can wake the corpse with a drop of blood, make the white bone grow flesh, make the dead come back to life, and return to the young world order in the law of life. Unfortunately, I only completed half of the marriage ceremony with him before he escaped. The red-clothed white bone looked at Xuanhuan, who was captured by her and was still unconscious on the ground, and said to herself, first hide the bone body in her body, and use her flesh and blood body and life breath to avoid the life law that prevents the reversal of life and death in the world. Since the bronze ship sailed through the Tanggu Sea, that Xuanhuan spoke of, the sea had day and night for the next few days. Many scientific expedition members speculated that there were many golden crows living on the seabed of Tanggu Sea, and they turned into the sun and flew from east to west, making the world appear day and night. In fact, no one knows where east is and where west is. They were all judging the direction based on the previous understanding that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and believed that the direction of the bronze ship was north. The Fusang tree was long gone, and the bronze ship seemed to be continuously jumping through space as it sailed to another sea area, where there were no longer any terrifying dead souls. There was no wind at sea, and the sea surface was as smooth as a mirror. The seawater was scarlet, which was very abnormal. After it was scooped up with a bucket, it looked like fresh blood. Even if it was filtered, the color could not be filtered out. No one dared to drink it. Of course, they just don't dare to drink it now. Because the generator could not be repaired, and almost all the food that was not easy to store had rotted. From yesterday, food and water were rationed, and 3 meals a day instantly became 1.5 meals a day. Another day passed. Scattered coffins appeared on the sea, and no one knew where they came from. They were sailing in the same direction as the bronze ships, leaving long trails on the calm sea. This world always gives people a feeling of heavy yin qi, which cannot be dispelled by the Fusang tree and the golden crow. The original, Sea of Souls, was like the place where the souls of all the deceased on the planets in the universe returned. Now this, Sea of Blood, is like the place where the blood of all living beings in the universe returns. In the afternoon, huge birds flew across the sky, hunting in the sea, their cries loud. There was also a flock of strange birds with sickle-like beaks, like seagulls, pecking open the coffins floating on the sea, sharing the rotten flesh and bones in the coffins. With the signs of life, the people on the ship were in a good mood and soon forgot the grief and fear of a few days ago. People speculated that they were not far from the shore. It's so exciting. As long as they can reach the shore, they can survive. In the past few days, except for the area around the tomb of the White Bone Demon, Li Wei had searched the bronze warship, but he could not find any trace of Xuanhuan. Could it be that she was really eaten by the White Bone Demon? Li Wei had long had this guess, because the most dangerous thing on the ship now was the ghost. In any case, he had to go and investigate. He wanted to repay Xuanhuan's kindness so that he would no longer be bound by her. At the same time, he also had a sense of crisis, always feeling that the White Bone Demon would crawl out of the grave sooner or later. Rather than sit and wait for death, it is better to take the initiative to solve the hidden dangers. But before that, he had to improve his own combat power a little more, and did not want to die rashly. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.